Don Wells' Voices Behind the Wall Pop-In Edition. Rated E for everyone. Cher opens up, she's on camera, then she's off camera, then she's on camera. She's in and out. I think she's trying to get her point across. I'm not sitting here in my PJs. Got my hair fixed. I'm up, prepared, ready for business. She's like, still no sound? Still no sound. What the f is wrong with this? Nah, we hear you good, Cher. Who started this rumor about no sound? That happens too, man. I think sometimes you have somebody and they got their volume turned down and they're like, I don't hear shit. I better put it in check and make him lose his damn mind thinking his shit's messed up. Oh, it turns out I turned my volume up there. Had it done to me, it sucks. Cher gives us a welcome. Woo, woo! Got her new member. That's how Cher goes about it. People got different things. Some people have cowbells. Some people have like live studio audience. Alright, yeah. Cher. Woo, woo. Original. I like somebody that don't follow trend. Approved. Get the out of here, Ziggy. That's called sarcasm. You might miss that. I don't know. Apparently her and Ziggy got beef. I stay out of this kind of stuff. All of a sudden you hear a turns out it's a Pepsi. I know everybody was like, Cher, drinking a beer this evening, huh? I wonder if that's a Ford. Comes on camera. Pepsi. Fast forward, sitting there on panel, here's Dipey's up. She's like, Dipey, yeah, it's been nice having you. We'll see you later. Thanks for coming. Dawn's in the house. They start out, Cher brings Dawn up. Cher's like, Dawn, you know, we're not supposed to do our thing. That's tomorrow evening. Dawn was like, oh, I don't know, I had nothing else to do. And I thought maybe you wanted to talk. She was like, that's cool, Dawn. I didn't say you couldn't come up. I just said, I want to need you to do that shit tomorrow night, so don't be acting like this is taking its place. Comes right out the gate with a, I'm nowhere near perfect. Dawn, having been over your background check, which you don't have gaps. You get hired for a job easy with the gaps you got, because there ain't none in crime. I mean, you don't miss long. Just saying. You said you're nowhere near perfect. I'm saying, looking at your record, I have to agree. Dawn goes over. CPS is trying to get the boys from, like custody to prison. That's his theory on what they're doing with the boys. Which I don't know how that makes sense. What they would be benefiting from them going to prison. How does CPS make money when they're in prison? I don't get that. That's why it seems like, to me also, after they turn 18, there's nothing CPS can really do anymore. Wouldn't CPS be targeting much younger kids? And would they really pick the kids of the father of a missing young girl who has tons of publicity around it? I mean, they had a chance to where, if they was like, come on. It makes no sense. I'm sorry. Dawn says he wants to know the connection between court, family court, and CPS. Why's there gotta be a connection? You're saying CPS is such a huge mafia, 60 billion, you keep throwing that around. They don't need family court for shit. They can go to family court all day long, because if they are that powerful, they can definitely invent evidence, documents, pay professionals off, bribe, whatever they gotta do. They don't have to have family courts help if they're as big as what you're saying. Dawn says, everything's God's timing of when, things are going to happen. Well, I'm glad you're that strong in your faith. I'd be way too impatient. Man, Chad's like, Dawn's sounding sober a lot more. Yeah, he ain't been on ripped in a minute, in a couple months probably. Dawn says if CPS rolls up on you, don't do shit, they say. Don't submit to anything, don't answer a question. Nothing. I've heard other people make that recommendation too. I don't know. I ain't got nothing to hide. Those have nothing to hide nothing. You can come in my house. We gonna be like, oh my god. Alright, get out. Peace. So once again admits to voluntarily giving up the boys, saying, it's supposed to be a short-term deal. Still don't agree with it. Dawn says he's always given the maximum by Hawkins County. They're always giving him the maximum. They don't drop misdemeanor. Dawn says he still owes Hawkins County 4,500 smacks. Dawn says he can't tell you the number of misdemeanors he's had thrown out. Another one of them things where you tell it on yourself, Dawn. So you got a lot more charges than we even knew. All the shit that got thrown out, because that shit don't probably show up, I wouldn't think. Yeah. So how many of them you got we don't know about? Cher asked Dawn, she's like, Dawn, how long can a CPS case stay open? And Dawn's like, well, first thing you do is you don't even let them in the front door. You don't answer questions. And it was the weirdest thing. It was like we went through some kind of alternate reality where she asked one question, he answered a completely different question, and it never got brought up. Dawn says, looking back, he thinks it's super odd how the CPS supervisor was looking all over the house. No, Dawn, what she was doing was, if that story's true, the reason she was looking all over the house is because she was seeing if it was fit for kids. Okay? That's why she was there. The fact that you are more suspicious of that than Candace's story is mind-boggling to me. Cher reminds Dawn, all the publicity, whether good or bad, is good. That's true. Any publicity is good publicity. For this many people to still be talking about Summer 2 years after she's been missing, because I'm telling you, there's cases where they go and are missing and never found that people don't talk about hardly at all, and it's really good that Summer's case still has this much publicity. She says, call me and Dawn crazy all you want. I'm sorry, Sheriff, but looking in from the outside, this CPS angle for Summer is crazy. And that's what I'm interested in finding out, is what happened to Summer. Sheriff says people that have wrenches are trusted. They can handle their job. Somebody needs to be timed out. They get timed out. They probably deserve to be timed out. Her mods are very fair. They ain't time people out every night. I got timed out. Don't do that again. Dawn says, he starts to say, he says, Hollywood, talking about trafficking and all this and missing kids. Hollywood and Will Smith. Never mentions it again. I'm like, Hollywood and Will Smith what? What did I miss? Have y'all heard something? She's playing this woman's video, or this video of a woman, it seems like she's testifying in court or in some kind of hearing. And she's an ex-senator, and they're talking about CPS. And they're talking about CPS and CPS corruption and all that, right? And the woman's talking about all these different angles. I agree, okay? I think there could be CPS corruption, for sure. There's a couple of bad apples in every basket. I just don't think CPS corruption has anything to do with why Summer Wells is missing. Dawn makes kind of a bizarre link to Joe Biden and Summer missing. Almost like it goes up that high. I swear to God, that's the path he seemed to be on. Dawn brings up the 70 billion. He always mentioned in the 70 billion. That number, mind-boggling. He wants to keep pushing it. Yeah, it's a huge amount. We get it. Cher gives Squids a shout out for the video they're watching. It's one of her mods. She found this video she's playing, and Dawn and her's checking out. Squids, good find. Dawn says, had a rough day, but it all turned out good. Cher's like, oh, great, glad to hear it. Cher, why didn't you ask? What was so rough about it? What happened? It's gotta be his buddy, too. His psychiatrist. I think he wanted to tell us something about his rough day, and you didn't even look into it. Drop the ball, Cher. Cher straightens out an entitled chatter. Some chatter's like, you didn't answer my question. This is ridiculous. Can y'all see me? One of those. Y'all know the time. Cher's like, if y'all don't like me, why are you here? My takeaways from this are this, okay? Dawn is either deflecting again, because it's wild how we've been through quite a few angles of this, right? And now we're at CPS. So the CPS angle to me means Dawn either, there's only a few scenarios. Dawn actually believes that. That's actually what has happened. Come on. If Dawn believes it was CPS, that just boggles the mind. Well, then everybody needs to come out and be honest about the timeline. Because I still say that didn't happen with, how did they get past the dogs? Being there one day they made friends with the dogs? That's what Dawn's going to be telling us next. You know what? Looking back, I seen CPS out there feeding the dogs chicken. What they were doing when I was getting them friendly. I don't know. It seems wild to me. I don't know why that's where you've went with it, Dawn. I don't. If I was Dawn and I wasn't there, I didn't know what happened, I would be much more suspicious of the people that was there. And why he's not makes me think Dawn has to have known what happened. And for him to be off on CPS, this is where he thinks it's headed, is wild to me. Very telling.